What's up, guys? Kyle here again, and welcome back to another episode of FAQ'N Friday, the show where I answer your guys' burning gear questions. Now, today is actually a big day because the Bushido Code full-length album, The Ronin, has been released. So everybody who pre-ordered it, you guys will get your digital download copy. I believe some of the pre-orders have actually already shipped and people are getting the physical copies. So yeah, please do me a huge favor. Go into the link below, check out the album. It's been up for pre-stream on decibel.com for a few days now, getting tons of positive feedback. I'm super excited about it. It's definitely the best thing that I've ever been a part of, and I'm really happy to share it with the world. So make sure you guys go and check that out when you get a chance. I'd really appreciate it. So without further ado, on to the questions. Rec99 asks, hey Kyle, your thoughts on pickups EMG 81 versus Fishman Fluence Modern? Just curious, thanks. Well man, the EMG 81 has kind of always been one of my enemies as far as gear goes. I've just never really been a huge active pickup fan. They serve their purpose for sure, and they sound great in certain settings. For me, you know, obviously all of this is very subjective, but I've just never really been that big of a fan of the tone. It's very narrow and compressed. Sure, it can be super tight, but it just doesn't seem all that lively. I prefer just the openness of most passive pickups. I usually tend to go for like hot rodded PAF style pickups, so you're gonna get a lot better dynamics with those anyways. But yeah, those are the things that I typically don't like about EMGs. They just sound like they're cut off on top, cut off on bottom. It makes them really focused and easy to mix and easy to play, but at the same time, it just makes it sound really boring to my ear, personally. So never really got along with the EMG 81 all that much, or the Seymour Duncan Blackout stuff for that matter. Now, the Fishman Fluence stuff, I'm pretty impressed by. I have a set of the Fishman Fluence Moderns in my Schecter C1 SLS Elite. Yes, that's it. And I think they sound awesome. They still kind of sound like actives, and that's not a surprise. They are essentially actives. But I think they sound much better. They sound much more open. They have better dynamics, especially, you know, there's a passive mode on it where you pull the pot and it kind of takes some of the active circuitry out of it and turns it into more of a passive feeling pickup. I think it turns it into a passive pickup and just kind of takes the preamp out of it. I could be wrong. I'm not that up on the technology of them. I just know that they came in that guitar. The Fishman, I would definitely choose the Fishman stuff over an EMG for my personal taste. Now, I do have a couple guitars with EMGs in them, and I don't agree with the assessment that you can slap an EMG 81 in any guitar and it'll sound the same. The guitar's voice still shines through significantly on most guitars, and there are some guitars that I actually think that they sound pretty good in, and I just leave them there. But for the most part, I avoid guitars with them in them, or I swap them out because I just don't love them all that much. The Fishman stuff, if it comes with it in there, more than likely I'm going to leave it in there because I'm going to be good with how it sounds. So that's my thoughts on that. Austin Eldridge asks, question, what's your favorite song you've ever written? That is a really tough question. I've written a lot, and not just myself. Pretty much everything I've ever written has been part of a band composition, because I can write riffs all day long, but I don't really get inspired to structure a song until the whole band is there and actively participating in the songwriting process. I tend to write a riff or two, you know, like a verse and a chorus, or a chorus and a bridge, or something like that, and then take it to band practice and then put it together, because I don't really like writing everything myself. One, because I have ADD and it's really hard for me to stick on a single song. And two, because I enjoy having the whole band be part of the process and have everybody's influence on the song and not just something that comes out sounding like something that I would write. So Bushido Code is really good at that. You know, I write some of the riffs, but Derrick writes a lot of it and brings it to practice, and then we put it together as a band. And I think that's what makes that band so fun, is everybody's on the same page, everybody knows their role and everything. So my favorite song that I have done would probably be, I don't know, it's got to be something off the new Bushido Code album. There's a couple awesome ones on the Bushido Code album. The title track, The Ronin, is amazing. That's an awesome composition for a metal song, in my opinion. I think it's awesome. I think it's just a great dynamic song. Benevolence, which was on our first EP, and we re-recorded it on the new full length because we wanted it to sound its best. That song is fantastic as well. I love the structure of it. I love the riffs and how it's put together, and then it has a nasty breakdown at the end of it, which we're primarily a metal band, but we still get away with writing cool breakdowns. So I would say one of those two songs would be my favorite thing that I've ever written. They're both really cool songs in my book, and I'm proud of them. David Ross asks, if you joined or started a pop punk band tomorrow, What are you showing up to practice with? That, I don't even have to think about it. It would be my Spawn Quick Rod and a Les Paul. I just know that I could get exactly what I would be looking for in that situation out of those two things. Awesome hot rod and Marshall tones that don't go over the top and don't need a boost. And a Les Paul, I mean, Marshall and Les Paul is kind of like, that's like pop punk all day long anyways. So that is definitely what I would go for. And on top of that, the Spawn has an excellent clean channel. So not only do I get an amazing, you know, hot rod and Marshall overdrive channel for most things, but I've also got an awesome clean channel. The amp has a good effects loop as well. So everything that I would need for a band like that is all in that one amp. So that's a no-brainer for me. Spawn Quick Rod and a Gibson Les Paul. As far as the cab, I'd probably go with something V30 loaded, but I don't know. We might mix it up. I would more than likely end up going with the Spawn cab that matches my Quick Rod, that has V30s in the bottom and M65 creambacks up top, because that would kind of warm it up a little bit and make it not so bright. TCGS Fun asks, what's your practice routine for galloping and downpicking? Thanks, Kyle. Love the channel. Appreciate it, man. My practice routine does not exist. I think I've said this a number of times on the channel, but I don't practice, and I'm not saying that proudly. I'm saying it in shame. I don't set aside time to practice. It's tough for me, especially with the channel. The channel takes up a lot of time. I spend 45 hours a week at work. My girlfriend and I both run and work out, and then we've got dogs and the house to tend to. So, you know, it sounds like I'm making excuses, which I kind of am. I could set aside time really if I wanted to, but I kind of enjoy having a little bit of downtime to spend with her and spend with the dogs. And I just really haven't gotten to that point where I have enough energy at night to devote to a structured practice routine, but it's something I'm really working towards. I'd really like to. If you want to get better at that stuff, my suggestion would be take something like a Slayer song or like a Megadeth song or a, you know, obviously an old Metallica song. Take that and put it into a program that slows it down. There's a lot of programs you can plug song files into and slow them down if you can't keep up with them. And practice that at a certain speed and then bump it up. Practice it at a certain speed, bump it up until you get comfortable enough to play with it full speed. And once you get comfortable enough to play those songs full speed, you can just practice them over and over again if you feel like you need some like endurance training for your right hand. I know I can only make it like a minute into Master of Puppets and my right hand shredded. So, and it's funny because I'm in a thrash band where we play a lot of heavy down picking stuff and a lot of thrashy stuff, but for some reason our stuff doesn't seem to do that to me, whereas when I try to play Metallica type stuff, it just destroys me. So that would be my suggestion, and that would be my go-to thing, is to practice certain songs such as Master of Puppets, where there is a lot of fast-paced down picking, or like Battery, where there's a lot of galloping. Take it, slow it down till you can get it all the way through at a slightly slower speed, and then bump it up until you're comfortable with a full-on speed. Real quick, that's it for the questions today, but I would really appreciate it if you guys would go and check out my friends in Purgatory, who just released a new album, just put it out. Those guys are awesome. Colin, the drummer for that band, actually runs his own studio, and he did a drum track for an upcoming demo of the Hot Mod Evo V2 that will be coming out probably sometime within the next week or two. Those guys are great. We played with them a couple times, and they're an awesome combination of metallic hardcore that kind of harkens back to the days of like All Out War and stuff like that. So I will put a link in the description to their new stuff. I would really appreciate it if you guys would go check it out. As always, please leave your questions for next week down in the comments. I really look forward to these episodes. They're some of my favorites to film. Love engaging with you guys. I know I haven't been as active in the comments lately. I've just been busy, so I hope to get back to being able to respond to you guys a little bit more often. If you'd like to support the channel, as always, my support links are down in the description of this video. My Patreon continues to grow slowly but surely, so I appreciate all my guys who are supporting me there. If you guys would like to become a Patreon member, you can join our private group chat and talk about upcoming videos and just gear in general directly with me and the other Patreon guys. I also have the Amazon affiliate links down there to the gear that I use, and some links to my friends' pages as well who support the channel. So again, thank you guys for being here. Leave your comments for next week. Kyle here. We'll see you guys soon.